Hey, welcome everyone to the annual Give First Town Hall. My name is Steven. I'll be helping you through some of these resources. There's so many in the area, and thank you so much. Happy New Year's to all of you, and super excited to kind of go through some of the awesome resources that we have in the Washington, D.C. area. Not just D.C., but some parts of Baltimore, Maryland, and Virginia. So super excited. It's going to be great. Town Hall Roadmap, we're going to share a little bit about why we do what we do. Why are we doing this for entrepreneurs? We're going to dive into some awesome speakers that are going to share some of the community resources from DC government, from specific niches like cooperatives and so forth. We're going to share some upcoming opportunities. You're going to love it. Definitely share some of the Spotlight series and some of the guides that we have for you. And of course, thank you to all our awesome partners and sponsors. And of course, the Icebreaker Networking, because we're missing lots of that one-to-one connection. So definitely want to build that in. So super excited for that. But first, why do we do what we do? I'm going to share something, a powerful piece from Techstars to kind of illuminate why we love helping you all build entrepreneurship.
This is a moment of unprecedented challenge. A moment that demands new ideas, new approaches, entirely new ways of thinking about the way we live and work and relate to each other, how we relate to the world and worlds beyond. What we need more than ever are entrepreneurs, from Birmingham to Bangalore and everywhere in between. This idea that you need to be in this or that place, have a PhD or be a coding genius, forget it. If you have an idea, a passion, grit and determination, an unyielding belief in what's possible, now is your time. And this is why we exist. To put founders first, to mentor them, connect them, inspire them, to give them everything they need to succeed. Not just because we love it, but because the world needs it. More than ever.
Thank you so much to our partners over at Techstars, a powerful piece. That's a little bit of why we do what we do. And to join us for the town hall, we have some special guest speakers. First of all, my name is Steven Rodriguez. I work at Techstars. I'm also a community builder in the Washington, D.C. area, doing different programming and events and so forth. You may have seen me from DC Startup Week or Techstars Startup Week and all these other great things, and super excited to kind of facilitate this town hall for you all. But I think you're really here for some of the awesome speakers that we have lined up. We have Kate from DC government, who's going to kind of share what the awesome resources and opportunities they have over on the DSLBD side, the Department for Small and Local Business Development, and our community guru for cooperatives, Justin Franks, who's going to share more about why go that route and also some of the resources that are coming up. But I guess without further ado, let's jump right into Kate. So Kate, hello, welcome.
So I was just saying, thank you for having me here today. And I'm really excited to be speaking with so many DC-based and DMV region-based entrepreneurs. I work at the Department of Small and Local Business Development. We are a DC government agency, and our job is to work with all small and local businesses and aspiring entrepreneurs. There are a lot more resources than I'll be able to talk about today, but I want to talk about a few at a high level, and you can see some of those on the slide. But the very first thing that I'm going to talk about, and this is for our existing entrepreneurs, it is very important that if you are an existing entrepreneur, if you were already operating your business prior to the start of the pandemic, that you know that the federal government has released additional stimulus through the PPP. There is additional support to help you. PPP, that's the Paycheck Protection Program, is a forgivable loan program. They are making it easier in this round, and we know that only a small proportion of small businesses across the country and the region actually accessed that very critical funding. And so we really want to make sure that people are thinking about that. So please reach out to us if you think maybe the PPP might be for you. There are a lot of different resources that will drop into the chat, but we do have a center at our office that can answer phone calls and can help you get started. DSLBD has a number of different sections. My section is called Innovation and Equitable Development, and we work with programs that help entrepreneurs starting to build, whether that's training programs, grant programs, or other initiatives that are aimed at breaking barriers, because everyone faces barriers as they are getting started. There are a lot of free resources across the district, and we always recommend that businesses soak up all of those free resources before you start paying for something. And so one of the things that will get dropped into the chat is a little bit of information about how to schedule a general technical assistance call with my team. That's a 30-minute call. We can talk about absolutely anything that you want to talk about with your business, but we also might be able to make very specific referrals of some of the great resources that are available and just help you think about what some of your next steps are. I also want to make sure that I mention two very important resources, one of which I think we have the link for if you are just getting started that are not within our agency. But we want to talk about the Small Business Development Center at Howard University. If you are getting started in business, you might be planning a lot of different ways. You might be doing lean canvas. You might be in a space where you're doing a traditional business plan. The Small Business Development Center at Howard University offers free technical assistance throughout the life cycle of your business, and they can really help you with that business plan. We really want to recommend that you might connect with them, and they offer a lot of other experts as well. We're partnering with them, and they're also doing 30-minute sessions, and they have a lot of specialized technical assistance experts in topics like contracting, in topics like accounting, and other pieces. And so you can use that link that's just been popped in here if you want to sit down with an expert for free. We're going to do an orientation session with them coming up on the 14th. And so if you want to hear a little bit more about what does it mean to work with the SBDC, please feel free to drop into that session or watch that recording afterwards when that recording comes out. Another resource that I apologize, I don't have the link here for today, but you can reach out for us and ask about it, is if you need to go through the licensing and registration process here in the district. We know that sometimes people need a little bit of extra support with that. We have really good partners at the Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, as the Small Business Resource Center, and they can help you navigate that process. And it's important to make sure that you get those stages right so that you don't end up paying additional funds in order to get registered and to get all set and ready to go. The last general overall support that I want to make sure that I mention is that DSLBD maintains something called the DC Business Toolkit. This is sort of like a wiki, and a lot of our resource partners also participate in this. They add additional events. They also create roadmaps. So that if you are looking for more information about the free resources that are available, you can also feel free to browse the DC Business Toolkit at dcbusinesstoolkit.com. One of the most important topics that small businesses need to think about is access to capital. That comes a lot of different ways. I'm going to mention a couple, but if you are thinking about access to capital in any direction and want to ask more about it, please reach out to us. Please reach out to the SBDC. Capital is one of the hardest things, no matter where you are in business, and it is something that you usually have to take in phases and in steps, taking smaller amounts of capital so that you can get larger amounts of capital. One really important capital resource right now, and this is for brick and mortar businesses, is the Robust Retail Grant that my division at DSLBD is operating. Robust Retail Grants are open until January 28th. They will be awarded based on a lottery. These are for brick and mortar locations that were affected during the pandemic, and it will be $7,500 of reimbursable dollars to help keep our brick and mortars open. But there have been other grants, and we anticipate that there may be additional grants. And so there is a business page on DC government's coronavirus.dc.gov website. And we suggest that you keep an eye out there. And additional grants, whether they're coming from the Deputy Mayor's office or elsewhere, or other resources to help during recovery, are being made available on the coronavirus website. In addition to that, there's also a 4 o'clock call that the Deputy Mayor holds every Tuesday, talking about some of the different resources that are available for businesses throughout this time. I also want to mention one other piece. You know, a lot of people are always excited about grants and interested in grants, and I do think there have been more grants available lately than we have ever seen before. We also know that the District of Columbia tends to give out more grants to for-profit businesses than most of the other jurisdictions that we are aware of. At the same time, grants are often hard, and they're not necessarily for startup businesses. We do have one program for Ward 7 and 8 businesses that can be fairly new. Those are the Dream Grants. Those come out in the fall. So if you're a Ward 7 and 8 business and you're interested in that, you can drop us a note at inno.ed@dc.gov, and we can tell you more about that program. Hopefully that will come back next year. But for many businesses, you're really going to be thinking about some debt-based capital. Maybe not a lot of debt-based capital, but some. And if you're interested in exploring a little bit more about that and some of the many capital providers that we have here in the district, we have a rich landscape of CDFIs. Those are Community Development Finance Institutions. And you can see more about that at the dccapitalconnector.com. We'll talk about just a couple more things, and then I know we want to move things over to Justin and talk about co-ops, which is a program that we also love to partner with him and other community stakeholders on. But before we get there, I'm going to talk about 2 certification programs that are available through the Department of Small and Local Business Development. If you are a DC maker, if you make a physical product or an intangible product here in the district, so intangible products would include music, it would include books, it could include software. If you are making things here in the district, and if you or half of your employees are resident, you can apply to be part of the free Made in DC certification program. And what we have found is that Washington, DC loves hearing Made in DC. They love seeing the logo. They love knowing that they're supporting local. And so the link that is just available right there, this is madeindc.com. You can click on the button that says sign up for free, and you can start your free application process for the Made in DC program. You can also feel free to follow us on the Instagram at This Is Made in DC. The other certification program, which is also free, is a much bigger certification program, and it really is the core of what DSLBD does. So you may have heard about something called Certified Business Enterprise. That is not the program that I work on at DSLBD, but a good third of our agency is dedicated to it. Certified Business Enterprise is one of the strongest local procurement programs in the country. And so the way that that works is that if you are a local business and you are small, you can get certified, and then you can apply for preference points when you are applying to district government contracts. And or you can also apply for subcontracting, because all of the large contractors with district government have a requirement to subcontract with local businesses. And just to give you a sense, we track every year how much money the government is required by law to be spending with our small and local businesses, and it's closing in on $1 billion annually. And if you want to see a little bit more about how that spending works, we do have a green book that we release every year. It's just been released, talking about what district government is going to be spending and what those goals are that each agency has for spending with small and local businesses. That is our green book. And so if you are interested in any of the programs that we mentioned, or if you're just trying to find something in the ecosystem and you haven't found it yet, please feel free to reach out to us, and we can help you get started and help you keep moving forward. I know Justin's going to say a lot about cooperatives. I just want to mention that we really, really appreciate it. And there are 2 cooperative resources that they're going to share from us from some of the things that we've done this year, just a couple of sessions. The first one was an overview of some of the different cooperative folks who are doing great things here in the district. And one that we just did in December was a session with Project Equity out of California, talking about how you can convert a current business into a worker-owned cooperative. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I want to turn it back over to Stephen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kate. And I guess a few questions here, I guess for a minute is, when somebody think about entrepreneurship and accessing these resources, they might be a consulting business, or they might be a tech business. Any limits, or how do you recommend, depending on the business, do they just come to you all, or what's the best way there?
Yeah, for both us and as well as the Small Business Development Center that I mentioned, and they're funded federally, we work with all businesses and entrepreneurs. And specifically, we are looking for businesses that are DC based. If you happen to be in the DMV region and you reach out to us, we may be able to provide you with a little bit of information. We're not going to shut the door in your face. Not all of the programs might be for you if you are based in Maryland or Virginia, but we're happy to share some information and see if we can help you get connected to your local pieces. And the SBDC does the same.
Got it. I guess in your experience, any hindsight, as people are starting this journey, what would be one piece of advice you'd recommend?
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of different pieces of advice out there, and many of them are good. I'm going to make it twofold. One is, don't ever take just one person's advice. Ask a lot of people. That is sort of critical to the lean canvas theory. It's critical to everything else. Take in a lot of different advice and sort that out, because you're the one who is making the final decision on your business. But the other one that I would say is really on access to capital and on building capital. One of the hardest things for a lot of businesses is access to capital, but one of the things that we see a lot of businesses not doing is be strong enough in their bookkeeping, be strong enough in knowing whether or not their business is actually profitable, and be strong enough in thinking about how and when they can cut costs. A lot of what you need to do as a business owner is really just be in those numbers and be thinking about different ways that you can approach things so that you can get to more profit, scale, and growth.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kate. We're going to pop in your information in the chat so that people can connect with DSLBD. And then, thank you so much, Kate, and Happy New Year to you, and can't wait to work with you later this year again.
Same thing.
All right, we're going to move over to our second speaker, who is none other than Justin Franks. Let's see. Welcome, welcome, Justin.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you
Hey,
here. Thanks for
hey.
having me.
Awesome.
Uh-oh, it disappeared.
Yep. And so tell us a little bit about cooperatives, Justin.
Yeah, so well, I first want to start out to introduce myself. My name is Justin Franks. I've worked in the past 4 years in the specifically particular entrepreneurial space in digital services mostly, and then finding myself as a business owner, realizing that it takes much more than a digital service to be able to provide a digital service to our customer base, and going through all the different obstacles and mazes to figure out how to put a business together. It's a large undertaking, something that I definitely underestimated at the time. Throughout that time, come to find a lot of amazing resources and people along the way to be able to build things, and realizing that those things we um, think we can do alone. We're kind of in this cultural mindset of competition, and that we are living in an age where we're looking at marketplaces as auction systems, and where we're looking to compete at a lower price than another person, and it often undervalues the labor and the worker. And so, in that light, a lot of the time we are now this past year seeing just all these barriers to access increasing, especially for already underrepresented entrepreneurs of color, especially in DC, where entrepreneurship has been a a major advantage to the rest of the country in the resources it provides and programs available. And so it definitely has taken a major hit over the past year. And so it's really and I know Kate knows more about this than most. Yeah, it's tough to see that. So in that, I just want to bring back the idea that um, as we are in our silos and we're working remotely, and we're kind of forced to do so out of safety, we're also um, at risk to perpetuate some of these issues that are really requires us to come together in this moment. And so there are technical barriers and legal barriers and things that we can't do alone. But with collaboration, we increase our soft skills, we increase a support network around us. We can build our relationships around us, around our shared passions, so that we can refer customers to each other, and have people challenge our assumptions. And it could be too hard to on ourselves. So it's always good to have someone to be able to help us get through the tough days. So just wanted to just kind of plug collaboration in there, and really tap into a mindset of abundance over scarcity, which is what we're kind of led to believe right now. So with co-ops, I want to introduce uh, co-ops, which is not a new thing by any means, a new approach to finding economic sustainability. A lot of a, a long history, even in DC, of groups that have been able to overcome some of the traditional barriers to entry, and market forces, and yeah, just socially economic issues, to be able to provide their own livelihood in our market-based framework. So, by definition, a cooperative is an autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to meet their common economic, social, and cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise, which is a mouthful, but essentially it's introducing more democracy into the workplace. And as entrepreneurs, we're also contractors, we're also gig workers, we're also potential business owners, but maybe we haven't started a business yet. So depending on where you are in that journey, co-ops really are a legal vehicle, just as much as they are a collective means of providing, yeah, getting towards a shared goal and having it be a relay race versus a competition. where you're not able to get as far if you're just competing against each other. So I want to mention that some other benefits of co-ops, and then there'll be some Q&A later maybe. But they do allow us to extend far beyond our own capacity, and really, I used to be a financial advisor, and the idea of finance, as Kate mentioned, is so important of still making mistakes in investing in the wrong things, and we have to take risks. And but compound interest is something that's really key to generating wealth and in assets. And depending on what we value, and co-ops really value human capital and workers over just profits. We can actually leverage the same ideal of compound interest in terms of human capital and be able to extend beyond our own capacity. So that's something that is unique to their cooperative model, and is now being really leveraged at a moment where it's needed. So I want to just say some basic facts of co-ops, that any business can be a co-op. There are a lot of different types of co-ops. That's from banking, credit unions, housing, which might be the most common referred to. But worker-owned businesses are definitely propping up more and more, where workers actually have a vote in the operations that take place, and they take home more of the profits generated that otherwise would go to some passive shareholders, which do have a place in instances, but it's not for every business when they're trying to scale. So then want to mention that members do share equal voting rights, regardless of the amount of capital they put into an enterprise. And it's really about the capacities, the skills, the interests, and the contributions into the cooperative business or joint venture. And there are about 65,000 co-ops in the U.S. of all types, and allow you to be dynamic and leverage tools and capacities and skills of interest of others around you to go after larger customer contracts, to really see beyond your own restraints, because a lot of times as entrepreneurs we think of our success limited by what we're able to personally do. And in my own journey, definitely realizing coming up against an imposter syndrome of, oh my God, I'm not a bookkeeper, I'm not an accountant, I am good at digital services, or I'm good at some other aspects of what a business needs, but there are a lot of different things that are needed. So getting over that hump, and cooperatives is a way to do that. And would say that especially in this downturn of an economy, which has already been in a recession for a long time for many, that this is a time where there are a lot of local resources that we can tap into, and there are also a lot of growing momentum around co-ops in general. So Department of Small Local Business Development has been very pivotal anchor in helping advance the conversations there. The Washington Area Community Investment Fund has also put up a YouTube series on how to start a co-op. There are some other links that we shared. There's a group that I helped co-organize. It's the DC Cooperative Stakeholders Group, and we've been meeting for about 4 years now, and we'll be looking ahead at what this year might come of, but we are always looking for people to bring into the space and connect with each other. So to find more out about that, go to dcstakeholders.coop and just sign up for to keep updated, or join our Slack channel, or just follow us on social media. And really, us is also you. It's to become a member. It just all it takes is showing up. So with that, want to move on to Crowdwork.coop, which is the business that I'm co-founding along with a couple other business partners, and that is a limited cooperative association based in the district, one of the only um, states, or well, it will become a state soon, maybe only DC, that has a statute for co-op associations in the country, and so we want to leverage this cooperative model as a bridge between workers and opportunities, and provide business continuity and operational capacity to local businesses and also workers in a cooperative environment and framework, and organize workers around opportunities that otherwise they wouldn't be able to reach themselves. And right now, those are in the domains of digital services, back office support, admin support, professional services, organizational coaching, and tapping into our group purchasing power, and really be able to combine our capacities, our skills, and interests, and have a vehicle to be able to go after opportunities together, and have that be codified and have a legal framework in place to really take down some of those barriers and tap into each other's shared passions and interests. And so I'll be happy to answer any more questions on that. It's developing. And
Yep. And I know you mentioned at some point, Justin, different resources, and I think you were mentioning the library. Can you share that, because I thought that was pretty neat.
yeah, so I was thinking of resources to share that would be really impactful for um, across the board, depending on who might show up, who might watch this video later on as well. And in just thinking back on my journey and taking off my tech lens as a business owner, just seeing a lot of what has made the biggest difference, at least for me, is a lot of the resources that are readily available, that in plain sight, that we just don't really hear about because they're not they're not really, they don't have a big marketing budget maybe. um, but the DC library, I think, is a very underutilized resource. And to add on to that, I think maybe tangentially a tiny bit, is that it's, knowledge capital is very much at risk of being kind of lost in this in this time, and there's a lot of people around that have a lot of skill sets that just might not be online to share those. So lynda.com, if you're familiar with that, it's a place where you can just get skills development on any topic. You can, if it's from organizational development, or if it's how to do your taxes, or it's how to design a graphic. There's so many videos and courses that are otherwise paid for, but through the DC Library, you get a free subscription. So if you go to dclibrary.org/Lynda, Lynda, you can actually just get into that free. And also they have a ton of other things on their site. Definitely highly encourage tapping into the library. Also want to mention that Department of Employment Services has been, if you're a worker and an entrepreneur, you're also potentially looking for jobs, you're looking for gigs, you're going gig to gig, trying to find contracts. You always want to keep your eyes open for what the market is looking for, and ways of doing that are making sure that you're also your skills are listed somewhere, and finding all the places to do that is really important. So Department of Employment Services, dcnetworks.org, and making sure your LinkedIn is up to date. Those are just tools and also tips, but I would say even as a business owner looking to extend your capacity, DOES has programs to be able to help you extend your workforce capacity and help you recruit folks that they've already helped bring into their system. So there is some continuity that they can provide, and that they're getting paid for to do as well. So there's some free resources there. I do want to double down on the DSWD toolkit. So that's dcbusinesstoolkit.com. And also for anyone that's not necessarily technical, but does understand that there is a need to stay connected, and especially right now, if we can't do it in person, even just having social media as a listening tool is really important. A lot of these conversations around topics of interest are happening, and every organization has an account on social media, and that's usually where the most up-to-date information is. And so people have websites where all those things come together, and but they also have the spokes, which is where the social media accounts are. So I would highly suggest, even if people are turned off by social media, that even as passive onlookers, that following accounts that are based on your shared interests or just keywords that either represent your own skills or interests is going to help you be able to find opportunities and have those alerts pop up to you, get emailed to you when you when you start following those accounts. And same with Eventbrite is a resource that has been very helpful. Even if you don't attend events, it's really important to know that things are going on and who is in the space and who you can engage later on. So taking notes along the way, and meetup.com is another obvious one. But yeah, those are some of the things I wanted to mention, as well as newsletters of the DC government agency newsletters. That it's a pretty long link. I don't know if that was able to be shared.
Yep. No, we shared it. It was a long link.
Yeah.
Yep. And Justin, we have some questions before we wrap up on cooperatives. It's really about the notion for an entrepreneur to think about cooperatives. When should they start thinking about it, or what could be a good use case that you've seen for them to begin that, exploring it more? Any ideas there?
Yeah, absolutely. So really when you're kind of professional hobbyist and you're with a group of people that you are thinking about starting a business and you're not sure if it's worth it or not, or there might be a burden of price, or you might want to focus on your strength, but not and realize that you don't have the legal capacity or background knowledge to take that on. It's a good time to first look around and see who else around you. It might be in a similar position where you have complementary strengths to them. So I would say if you, so I was a resident at 202 Creates in 2019, and there were a lot of creatives there, and the creative space is really really a great place to look at some use cases where artists need to come together to market their skills, or if you have cleaning, custodial staff, and they're looking for their contracts individually, they can come together and have a means to do that. Tapping into a co-op model is very useful when you're not trying to go into a typical structure of appointing someone to be CEO and make all the decisions for the group, but you're operating more as a collective. And so if you're used to operating as a collective with people and you want to come together, make decisions together, and really have it be more of a shared pooling of ideas, and really generate some economic activity around your what you're doing and creating, then this is a great avenue to take to be able to save costs and really mitigate the risk of having to start up your own business alone and then wonder what's next, because as a group you can kind of pursue each other's leads and you can build on each other's strengths and be dynamic in a marketplace that keeps moving.
Awesome. And I guess to wrap up, any parting words for folks either beginning entrepreneurship or thinking through cooperative in particular?
Yeah, I would say that I think Stephen you said this before, and I think Kate has as well. Entrepreneurship definitely not for everyone. It's a lot of people are entrepreneurs not by choice, but because they have to. So just acknowledging that this is around a shared need and not a shared desire necessarily. Some things we just have to come together around for and find the vehicles to do that, and be happy to discuss that more or help provide resources. And I think DC stakeholders.co-op might be a good place to connect. That's one place. I also want to mention that we do have a risk of having what I believe is the next wave of a gig economy fall off of a radar that we cannot afford to happen, which is this generational divide that we are experiencing. And a lot of people aren't connected right now, and a lot of folks have the skills that are needed for any young entrepreneur to succeed, which is a lot of those things that professional services, the legal assistance, the accounting, those things where I'm really interested in exploring how to bring people that have seasoned professionals that have those skills back into the economy and into a dynamic space where we can work together. And that's something that we'll be trying to get or overcome this upcoming year in a remote setting. So I'm always open to that conversation. I know that's not really an anecdote, but I just needed to get that out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Justin, and super excited to continue working with you on Cooperative and just helping the ecosystem overall. So thank you again for giving us your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. And just one last thing I want to say, go support your local credit union. Be my last.
Yep. All right. Y'all heard, credit union. Don't forget to support. All right. Thank you, Justin.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. No, but we're super humbled to have them join in. Obviously, they're coming in out of their time to share some of these resources. It's already out there, but the problem is we just don't get to hear about it, especially in a virtual first environment. Can't connect as easily and kind of learn about this stuff. Just very briefly to conclude shortly. So Stephen, my main focus is giving first as best I can. Can't always give first, but I try the best when I can. My focus is community building, and so lots of the events and initiatives that we do are around to help inspire entrepreneurs. And when it's right for you at any point in time, or based on your journey, we have different programming and events there to kind of help you through that process. So we're going to share a little bit about that. I work at Techstars. I'm the startup manager for programs in the US and Canada. And I also have SUEGO, a for-profit company business development program here for entrepreneurs in the DC area and slowly building out. And I also have a nonprofit, kind of being that community bank for all these programs, events, and initiatives. But without further ado, we're just going to share some of the resources that we have available. I think one of the first ones, if you don't know about it, DMV Startup. It's one of the biggest Facebook groups for startup community and entrepreneurship in the DMV area. So join in. It's free, and start connecting and start seeing some of the resources that different members share throughout the year. So definitely check that out. And of course, we have different events every week to kind of catalyze and help you connect more in a virtual first environment. I think the first one is going to be the Startup Blink virtual coffee chats. Usually they're Fridays every 5 weeks. So you're going to notice a cadence of weekly events, and then they rotate. Set of 5, then another set of 5, and so on. But if you want to connect with others, Startup Blink virtual coffee chats could be something useful for you. Hacker Founders Community Play Lab. We're trying to get more techie founders and non-technical founders together to kind of connect, engage, and maybe see what happens. I think one of the biggest challenges we've seen over the past few years is for founders that are non-technical, how do we connect them to the techie folks? And it's not always easy. Different cultural divides, right? Techies and non-techies think differently. They hang out in different groups. So we're trying to kind of bring them all together to see what more we can kind of catalyze in terms of tech-enabled businesses in the future. So definitely check that out. Moving forward insights, we've noticed there's 20 challenges that every business kind of goes through at some point in their life cycle. So we're going to kind of get a prominent speaker to kind of share his thoughts on some of the questions that fall within those 12 growth challenges. 20. So definitely keep a lookout for some of those insights as we go along throughout the year. We have EXO clinic office hours for those of you that are thinking exponentially and what that brings, how to tap into all this extra information and what we call abundance. So we're going to share more about this in a few slides, but we have these open office hours if you want to go further into this and seeing how to help shape your business to tap into these interesting resources and assets in this new digital age. And of course, self-care. Let's be real. Entrepreneurship is a struggle. It's tough. It's not easy. And we need to step back sometimes and really focus on us and kind of have a little mental health break, right? So if you want to do a little self-care, we have a little healing circle every now and then. So definitely check those out. And back to this, this exponential thinking, right? How to transform the world for the better, how to tap into these abundant resources. We're going to have somebody by the name of Salim Ismail, who's going to share a little bit more about exponential thinking. So thank you, Salim, for joining us virtually. So we're going to share his video, though, in that sense, to share more.
Hi, I'm Salim Ismail. I'm the founding executive director here at Singularity University. I got involved in the founding conference almost 5 years ago, where we asked the question, is it worth creating an educational organization only based on accelerating technologies? And the observation was made that if you think about the biggest problems in the world, the spread of a pandemic or aspects of climate change or the financial crisis that the world is struggling under, they're rooted in accelerating and exponential factors. Our leadership around the world does not get this phenomenon. And this is the fundamental cognitive gap that we're facing. The Arab Spring is a manifestation of that. The younger generation is leveraging information in a way that the older generation can't even conceive of, and that's causing all of that stress that we're seeing. And we're seeing that same stress in Occupy Wall Street, in the patent system, in the legal systems, and so on. When you have an information-based environment, we found it goes into an exponential growth path, and it starts doubling in its price performance every 1 to 2 years. And now we have whole industries like music, newspapers, books, all operating on that paradigm and that dynamic. And we are not set up as a world for that. If you think of all of the mechanisms that we use to run the world, our social structure, our civics, our politics, our legal systems, patent systems, healthcare systems, education systems, they're all geared for a world 100 or 200 years ago. We're not set up for the world of today, and definitely not for the world of tomorrow. And all of the changes that we've seen in the last 20 years are mostly due to internet, and mobile is like kind of just starting now, right? Just in the next 10 years, we have 3D printing, we have advanced robotics, we have AI, we have synthetic biology, big data, all coming online. From a societal perspective, we are not set up to absorb that pace of change. And that's why we exist. That's why you are here, is that the next generation of leadership needs to figure out how to navigate these disruptive events in a much more elegant way than we have in the past. Let me give you an example of this. If I take 30 steps linearly, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 30, you can project very well in your heads, where am I 1/3 of the way, where am I 2/3 of the way in that progression. We're very good at that linear extrapolation. If I take 30 doubling steps, 2, 4, 8, 16, at step 30, I'm 26 times around the world. I've gone 1 billion meters. And it's very hard to gauge where am I 1/3 of the way and where am I 2/3 of the way. So that's the shift that we're seeing all around the world in industry after industry, in product area after product area, and that overall pace that itself is accelerating. That's why you're here. We want you to think about, have a transitional shift in how you think about the world, so you think in this new way, so that when you go back to your home countries or whatever industries that you came from or whatever project areas you want to work on, you can take this thinking and apply it so that we end up in a world with abundance. So come learn about these things and go out there and fix the world's problems.
All right, so thank you, Salim. And to kind of help think through some of these changes, obviously this is a lot. There's 11 attributes that Salim likes to share. So we're going to do monthly workshops on each attribute, starting with the massive transformative purpose, the most important one out of the 11 attributes. So you can tap into this exponential way of thinking with special guest Brandon Dubé from Crowdwork as well. So definitely hope you can check it out. And again, these are monthly. If you missed the first one, that's okay. Come to the next ones because maybe you care about some of the other attributes. And that's perfectly fine. As with any of these events, pick and choose what's best for you, right? You can't go to them all. You need to be very mindful of your time because time is precious, especially as you're building a business. Another awesome event that we have coming up are the 1 Million Cups initiatives. We're really trying to help one entrepreneur at a time, but with a twist. We're trying to have them present a little bit about their company, but really what's the biggest challenge that you're getting stuck on? What's holding you back? What's not letting you continue to grow and accelerate? So each one, every time we have a 1 Million Cups, somebody focuses on the problem they have. And what we do as a community is we take about 15, 20 minutes to kind of share, hey, you have a problem with this. Well, have you thought about looking at it this way? Or I have somebody that had the same problem, so let me connect you to him. It's really a way to crowdsource solutions around a given problem. So that's one of the interesting ideas around 1 Million Cups. We do them almost every 2 weeks. It's going to start back up on the 27th of January, starting with a focus on sales and service. We have Orange Up Inc., local Virginia business that now kind of is accelerating a bit, and now they've kind of transferred over to Delaware C Corp. So they kind of seen that linear progression, but now sales and service and accelerating and ramping on sales is becoming tough. So we're going to kind of see how we can explore and help them through some of those challenges. Some of the other community events that definitely love to share, Startup Grind does great initiatives every month. We have some in Nova. We have a Startup Grind in DC. So all of these are fireside chats with some of the awesome rising entrepreneurs in the area. Some of you may know Dawn Myers. So she's going to be speaking coming up later on this month. And of course, there's other initiatives like diversity in Silicon Valley. So women in investing. So different programming and events, and definitely popping in the link to the calendar so that you can kind of check out some of these events. And of course, Connectpreneur, if you haven't heard about Connectpreneur, definitely check them out. They have an amazing power networking session to help you kind of connect, or rather hyper connect, with the local community of entrepreneurs. And not even local, it's actually tends to be a little more regional in that sense. So definitely check those out as well, especially if you want to network and expand beyond just a little local DC bubble. Of course, we also have some events coming up called CMX Connect. Lots of community managers, community builders. They want to do awesome stuff, but within a business, within an organization, or just for the community, like for entrepreneurs. And really all of us are thinking, well, how do we learn from each other? So CMX Connect is that opportunity to learn from other community builders and community managers, whatever the title may be, the profession for community building, really. So definitely check those out coming up. And of course, Notion. I don't know if you have heard of Notion, but they're an awesome tool. It's like a wiki. That's just amazing. But when it comes to kind of creating notes, creating pages, very simple and easy to use, especially as you may be dealing with clients or for internal reasons. Notion is a great tool, and they have a great community that kind of helps us think through different templates and stuff like that. And that's the power behind Notion, is not just a tool, but the community to kind of help us all kind of think through how do we build this little tool out to benefit our own individual use case. So Notion meetups are on the way. Check them out. And of course, I'd be remiss if I did not include a little piece about Techstars and some of the awesome programming and events that they do throughout the year, like Startup Week, Startup Weekend. But let me pull up a little video on them that they wanted to share for the community to share a little bit more about what this is.
Welcome to the world's largest and most influential entrepreneurial network. Welcome to Techstars. At Techstars, we believe great ideas can come from anywhere, that entrepreneurs can and do change the world. That's why we run thousands of startup weekend programs in more than 600 cities and 120 countries, connecting, inspiring, and empowering thousands of entrepreneurs. to build something amazing. It's also why we put on dozens of Startup Week programs far beyond the usual tech hubs, celebrating entrepreneurial people and ideas everywhere. Techstars community programs are imagined, organized and executed by local community leaders. And when you attend a Techstars community program, you become part of the same thriving network that powers startups in our accelerator programs, connecting you with mentors, investors and innovation leaders, giving you unfettered access to everything you need to do what you were put on this earth to do, to build a better future.
And Techstars is the worldwide network that helps entrepreneurs succeed. We have so many events over the years. We're all over the world. And of course, we do this to really give back to the entrepreneurship community. So super excited to always host and collaborate with a Techstars startup program. And of course, we also run startup weeks. We helped launch DC Startup Week back in 2016, and now we've kind of taken all those experience over the past few years and now launched it in Bogota, Colombia. So for all my Hispanics, just know that if for some reason the English language is a barrier, that's okay. We have BOGO Week. It's all in Spanish, so definitely join in. And of course, Global Entrepreneurship Week, our biggest capstone event of the year. This event alone, over 10 million people engage globally. I help with the local event here. My colleague Dwayne Rollins over at C-Spot helps kind of coordinate on the state level for DC. I'm one of the community organizers and super excited to kind of bring this program here and celebrate the amazing resources, opportunities, and of course, the entrepreneurs that we have here in the region. So super excited. Definitely check out GEW later on this year.
Well, hello everybody. This Global Entrepreneurship Week, I wanted to take a moment to share a message of hope and encouragement. Entrepreneurs are the dreamers, the doers and risk takers that have the opportunity to transform society for the better. I didn't even know that I was an entrepreneur when I started Virgin. The word wasn't really used back then. I was a young man with big dreams of creating businesses that solved problems and helped improve people's lives. When I first learned the word, I had to ask how to pronounce it. French was never my strong point. Everyone has the potential to become an entrepreneur and to create positive change in their communities. I'm proud to support the Global Entrepreneurship Network, a charity with a mission to make it possible for anyone, anywhere, to start or scale a business. They want to unearth a new generation of entrepreneurs to help figure out better ways of doing things, to create jobs and new opportunities in the wake of the pandemic. So if you've ever wanted to start a business, head over to the Global Entrepreneurship Network and check out all the great resources they have available. Cheers.
And of course, all these events, hard to keep track. We've kind of condensed it into one calendar. So if you go over to our Road to GEW 22-in-1 event series, you'll see the calendar of all the different community area events around entrepreneurship and startups. So again, very easy. Sign up for what you think is important for you at the moment. Don't worry about trying to attend everything again. Just focus on what will move your needle forward now. And little by little, you'll get to the other stuff when you need to actually address it. So again, don't get overwhelmed, just pick and choose. And I think something that some of our speakers kind of mentioned was start somewhere, right? Any event that you feel could be useful, start connecting, engaging, and of course, applying any skills that you learn as you need them. Some of the last programming pieces and opportunities that we're going to share are some programs. So again, if you look at the entrepreneur's journey, You go through various stages. You may need to focus on different things at different points, and there's different programming programs to kind of help you through that process. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur trying to learn about the basics, or you're kind of need mentorship and guidance, or you need acceleration and really kind of focus in, or you need to fundraise or capital raise in that sense. I think one of the awesome programs that we have in the area that just kind of relaunched back last year is Founders Institute, global organization. I also mentor at Founders Institute, so great initiative. There is a price to it, so just be mindful of that. So make sure you know everything, and there is a requirement to kind of incorporate as a C Corp. But again, it's all good. If you're ready to kind of make that next step and you're committed and you want to go the C Corp route, then definitely Founders Institute is a great resource to consider. Another great program is the Impact Accelerator for all our impact-focused startup businesses. So SeedSpot has some different initiatives. Their deadline for the next Impact Accelerator is January 27th. So make sure to learn more and apply if it's for you. They do have a nominal fee as well, so keep that in mind. Something that we're doing this year is we're going to do a FastTrac program. So this one is actually free. So if you want to connect with other entrepreneurs in a cohort model, it's over a 10-week program. We're going to help you teach you the basics of entrepreneurship, the lifestyle, how to find the problem, customer validation, and then how to incorporate at the very least, so that you're ready by the end of the 10 weeks. You have all the knowledge to launch, grow, and hopefully scale a business in that sense. So again, early deadline, the 28th of January. Last deadline, I believe, is the 28th of February, and then everything starts March 30th. So keep that in mind. And of course, here's a little promo for one of the participants who has gone through a FastTrac program.
The way they taught us in FastTrac, is there a need? You got to find a need. They taught me how to do a name search for my business, legally, financially, how to get everything started, and just where to begin from start to finish. Just learning all the aspects of a business, because having worked for corporations my whole life, I had no idea what was involved in starting a business. So they teach you everything from start to finish on what you need to do and what steps you need to take. What a wonderful program to be able to get out and start your own business. I never dreamed of starting my own business, but it's just been wonderful to be able to create and turn my hobby into a career. I'm pleased to say that my business has grown every year since 2015 when I started. Every year it's a little bit more, a little bit more. That's important because you want to see growth. I did start with my own savings and have not had to take out a loan or look for funding. I am just maintaining enough growth and I can stay in business and enjoy what I do.
And of course, there's Startup Leadership Program. It's another great fellowship. The deadline is going to be February 1st. Join an amazing group, an online community. They do have a pricing fee, very nominal, but just keep that in mind. But again, another interesting program to take advantage of. Deadline to apply is February 1st. And of course, new entrants to the community, Startup Boost, their global tech accelerator program. They're beginning on January 25th to open applications. Feel free to join their waitlist. They don't have a cost, so that's good. Another low-cost way to kind of get access to resources, to mentorship, to coaching, and specific programming and events. And of course, similar to the community of DMV Startup, they have the Founders Boost community, also free to join in. This might be a little more national, global in scale. So definitely check out the community. Again, you can never be part of too many communities, but of course, spend your time wisely amongst them. And of course, this has been quite the year that we've experienced in 2020. And of course, it's a new dawn, new day, new year. So super excited for different resources and opportunities. There's different nonprofits. There's different government programs and initiatives, as we heard. So definitely take advantage of the ones that make the most sense. And definitely want to highlight a particular nonprofit. This is 1863 Ventures, especially for Black founders. This is the home for new majority founders and teams. Enough said. They have great programs like the 3 Rs program for Washington, D.C. and expanding into a few other cities. They have grants. You don't have to pay these back. They have an EDU educational course program. So definitely take advantage of these programs. And again, it's free to enter and get access to the programs and applications. The grant, you do have to apply, but if you complete the program, then you should be good for that. And again, it's free. You don't have to pay it back, and you get access to coaching and mentoring. And they have different events like Preparing for Financing with Melissa Bradley, serial entrepreneur, serial investor. Definitely check out that event and others that they have for new majority entrepreneurs. And speaking of nonprofits, definitely want to give a big shout out to Operation Arts. I've been tracking them over the past few years, and they seem to be simply just killing it with different programming events catering to the creative industry. So congrats to the founders. Definitely love seeing new programming and events like this. We definitely need it in the community. And of course, a focus on the creative industry is definitely great at this time when so many of us kind of fall into that bucket. So super excited for them, wishing them the best success in the future. And of course, definitely count on SUEGO and all of us to kind of support and partner any way we can. We do have a spotlight series, so just wanted to share that there's awesome people doing amazing work like Kate and Justin and others that we may not know about. So definitely want to put the spotlight on them because we want to appreciate all their efforts. So nominate somebody. This is powered by Nominations, the community. So let us know who we should highlight that's rocking it right now. And this is maybe a lot, but that's okay. We have a guide to kind of with all the links that you may need. So definitely check that out when you get a chance, and it's free. So really to wrap up, if you want to learn more about SUEGO, suego.co. If you want to learn about the Facebook startup community, DMV Startup, and it's free, definitely go join the Facebook group and start connecting and learning about the different events and initiatives coming up throughout the year. And of course, Techstars always coming out with amazing resources, lots of their learnings across the years from an accelerator standpoint. They've turned it into bite-sized chunks of video sessions across specific topics and themes. So definitely check out the toolkit. It's free as well. Super, super thankful for the amazing speakers that give their time to kind of share these resources. Even though it's already out there, it's definitely helpful. So thank you, Kate. Thank you, Justin, for sharing your thoughts, ideas, and of course, the opportunities and resources that are coming out. And of course, our partners, without them, the saying goes that it takes a village really to raise a startup. So we're super excited to have all these partners throughout the year since we first started in 2016, and we look forward to definitely working with many of them to bring you all these programs and events, especially at the lowest price and I think my favorite, the free cost. So hopefully zero barriers for anyone to learn about entrepreneurship. Of course, the next Town Hall, get ready. It's going to be March 2nd. We're going to deep dive into Global Entrepreneurship Week. You want to get involved? This is the best way to start learning about what we do, why we do it, and of course, letting us know how we should shape the programming and the user experience for 2021. So March 2nd, join in. Registrations are open. And of course, join us. This is how we keep our pulse on the community. It's by the community for the community. So we definitely want as many of you involved to make this the success that has grown into over the past few years. And just want to leave off with this quote. We're a reflection of our community, really. And community means so much more for us than belonging to just something. It's about doing something together that really makes this matter. So we're super excited that we are part of your journey, your entrepreneurship journey, and we'll be helpful as best we can. We'll connect you and pipeline you to the right resources if we can help you. And of course, it's a journey. There's the African proverb of this is a marathon, not a sprint. So be ready to take it to the long haul. So we're super excited to be with you. And of course, love your faces. We're glad to have been part of your day today. And of course, we'll see you in the upcoming weeks.